All right, cyber traders, welcome on back here this Tuesday afternoon, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern. Great to see all of our students and members alike. Finally out on WISA here. Looks like finally just took me out here, beginning to break a little bit lower, or it seems like it wants to. So let me just get a quick sound check just to begin. Make sure everyone can hear me loud and clear. Have Leda with us just before I had Susie, uh, Wendy just a moment ago, Roger, had Brent, Abdul, and all of our students and members alike. Now Charles, I was just chatting with him a moment ago. He did pretty nicely just before, and Lisa, Grant, Bob, great to see him. One of our new members, it seems like, and with that said here, I mean, hey, for this stock, Visa, the whole market's pulling back, and we'll talk about the S&P, just, the markets alike in just a moment. But it goes to show that not every stock is going to follow the market. There's stocks that are going to move on their own accord, on their own news. In this case, I think that there was some news out on this Visa trade earlier today. But as we learned in Traders Talk, this was more of just a short squeeze than anything. The stock has been reverse split over and over. So it's even possible this might even make one more pop heading into the afternoon. But at this stage, if it's not flipping resistance into support, right? That's the whole key to what we were just talking about in our live workshop earlier today. So if you missed out on that, pretty much just, we have that on recording as a trial member. I know that we'll be doing a bit of an introductory little webinar coming up this Thursday, I believe, Fausto and myself, just as far as new trial members joining our room, just, knowing what it's like to be a member and just kind of everything that's included, just a little bit easier to onboard you. But, that's where we could tell you, well, hey, for resistance to not get flipped into support, if we're not going to see the stock play by our rules, then you better make sure you get out. Look what I wrote here at 127 earlier. I'm just kind of reposting it for like Roger, Wendy, Lawrence, all of our students here. Said Visa needs to flip 7 from resistance to support, then do the same with 762. Went right up to 762. It was a strong rejection, and then ever since it never went back up there. So even now at this point, I actually just pulled back down towards my next support line, but I'm not trying to hang on for any longer than, if anything, just break even or even just slightly profit there. So this was a phenomenal push from earlier today. I was able to get half out right off of like 825, and then from now at this point, we'll see if this can make one more pop. But here's the thing: these stocks are not going to move up forever, right? We know that. We went over that earlier. But if there's one stock that's up like 300, 400%, oftentimes you'll tend to get, other groups of traders to try and pump up the next stock, the next trade. So, I'll add this to our list, but I'm hoping to see even like, some other stock that can move just in a moment here, maybe something that we haven't even looked at just yet. Because outside of WISA, really here throughout the afternoon, things a little slow. We were calling that AMC movie theater just earlier. That actually had a pretty decent day against the market there. But looking at the SPY right now, just something I want to show pretty quickly. Actually, let's see if I can just make it easy on my own computer here. All right, there we go. So my platform doesn't crash. Basically, the SPY. We were talking about this earlier, just in our workshop over the last couple of weeks at this point. So we have a gap fill opportunity, and the lower we're going, the more likely that we are to fill said gap. It's back from the end of February here, pretty much encroaching it right now. I mean, really, I'd say a full fill would be down towards like 498, 497, even as much as. I don't know if we'll get that low, but we were calling this out over the last week. So at least with the way the SPY is looking here, heading into the early to mid afternoon now, popped up before, but then it just slammed right back down. It was a rejection. So it seems more and more likely we're going to get the test down to 500, perhaps. That's all. So we'll see if there's any good shorts that we could work with here heading into the afternoon, or maybe otherwise a stock like Visa, another crazy or so, as we had said, that can make a bit of a move or two here so far. So let's go from the gainers to losers list right now. So we got Visa here again. Needs to hold this support line, basically 565-ish, 560. But mostly a lot of trades look like this, right? Look at the upwick here on SXTC. That's crazy. So, pop, drop, they normally don't make a second win type of move that's worth our time at least. So, yeah, I'll pass on that trade. I'll probably pass on a lot of trades like that look like that. Now, Jeff was asking for Goev, asking for support. Well, that was a nice run from earlier today. We did go over that in our workshop also earlier this morning. Fausto was head on with that stock. It was like perfect call out right before 10:30 as we finished up our commentary. It's all about teamwork, right? So that was like not really too active at all prior. Then all of a sudden he caught it and it was a great trade from there. The Wisa was the one that I was on, where, just and then on top of myself and Fausto, there's like, over, extremely successful students. Of course, I'm not speaking to Jeff because Jeff is one of those students. He makes some great call outs himself. I'll check out Wisa or I'll check out Goev, as he had mentioned in just a bit. But plenty of us in our room, I see call outs from you folks all the time. Like, oh, let's look at that trade. So with that said, Jeff asking for support. Here's the thing on this one, though. We were looking for this earlier here off of 275 or 280-ish, whatever this was. 285, 288, I think that we said. Past iceberg resistance there, right? So you'd figure flip into support. You know what? It's tradable. It has a good spread, good order book. Doesn't hurt us to put this on our watch list, right? It was a great trade from earlier today. But normally, though, this is where I'll say, let's just come back to this at the end of this meeting. Let's just go another like 5, 10, 15 minutes here if we may, and see if there's anything looking even better, something at the highs right now, perhaps, or maybe a short. Saw Coinbase down big earlier today. Bitcoin took a bit of a hit. So, and it's not getting crushed. I'd say right now, as long as we're holding over like 60,000, 59,000 at least, we're looking pretty good. We're going right into the halving. So for any of my crypto heads out there, any of my Bitcoin heads out there, well, pretty much it's to say that like this is the strongest Bitcoin has been going into a halving event. That's every 4 years. So, it's like very close to all-time highs still. You see a little profit taking beforehand, perhaps. Maybe market makers trying to stop and liquidate traders out on crypto. That's always doable. But I would think that we'll get a bounce on Coinbase over time soon, perhaps in line with that SPY gap fill, right? That could always play out pretty synonymous. Enough kind of just yapping here right now. I've been going across this gainer side here. There's not much else that's looking too good, right? So Peabody, BTU, this is actually looking pretty decent, up 4+%. The stock we've done well on in the past, right? I could add it to our list for now, but I don't know if this is going to make that big like dollar, $2 run that you'd want to see it make. Like, it's been steady, decent trade. Can't complain with what it's done so far. All right, we're kind of dipping below 5% already at this point, right? OSCR here, Oscar, nice morning, stalling out now. Lunar, familiar name just with the space launch. Not terrible, not a terrible chart this is making. And then also AMC, like we had brought up before, this one's a lot slower. So if I'm comparing the two, I'd rather actually slip the lunar trade on our watch list in hopes of a run. Kind of like that there a little bit. So yeah, we got Rigatoni Alba, RGTI, Rigetti Computing being able to stack. So it's like one of those quantum computing companies. We traded this with QS in the past. Neither are really doing too much. So I'm gonna pass on both. I'll come back to that Goev trade again, like we'd said if we need to. But let's hop over to the loser side. Maybe there is a good short. Let's see if Coinbase is still dropping off for the time being. ACB, Jesus, I got smacked. KAVL, not a surprise. This one got smacked. What goes up comes back down. Next day, pretty much. Indo, same thing there. A lot of those energy companies. BTU is doing good, but the other energy companies, probably different subsector there. But yeah, CONL is the Coinbase ETF. So let's take a look at Coinbase. Potential short to work with on this one. Nah, not looking too good. It's just down percentage wise. That's all. If it was closer to the lows, much like the stocks on the gainers that are closer to the highs, that's one thing. But I'll tell you, I mean, hey, we're beginning the new wave of earnings season. We'll definitely talk about that more as we resume the audio commentary coming up. This will be later on, but we'll post the earnings calendar and we'll go over at least what's ahead for this afternoon, tomorrow, and whatnot. But you know what? I think that we just did a pretty good job scanning, and I only have 3 stocks to work with. Let's just go back to Goev, and we'll probably slip that on our list at this point, Jeff. Little process of elimination, right? That's all we had to do there. So, we'll kind of slip it on our list now. GOEV doesn't hurt. What else we got? Anything else looking good on YouTube, Facebook Live, etc.? Jeff says, yeah, on that go app trade, thinking new support is 280. I mean, for me, these were past iceberg levels. So as long as it's holding above this over time, you're looking decent. And the fact it's just tradable, we'll give it a shot. We did well on it earlier. And honestly, for the last like few weeks, we did pretty well in the stock. So, kind of a familiar name. All right. See if there's anything else looking just as good though. Lagavulin, no. Long ever in this stock. Not too big of a fan of the order book, but it's definitely moving better today than it was doing yesterday. So I'll kind of slip this to the back end of our watch list right now. LGVN. Bob saying thoughts on TRV into earnings tomorrow. So I'm not familiar with TRV, Travelers Companies. I just look at the long-term chart. I don't know anything about their financials. So as far as like, day trading it, we can give you like different iceberg levels to work off of come tomorrow morning. As far as just like a historical level to work off of here, if you're looking for like, potential support to work off of, well, company's been pretty damn strong of late. So yeah, I mean, if there's just, bad earnings, lower guidance, wouldn't shock me if you end up getting like a pretty deep drop. I mean, to get down at 200 would be 10% drop, a little bit more. So that's not too far fetched for bad earnings, for bad, earnings report, lower guidance. If that, again, I don't know the first thing about this company, so I'm just drawing up a complete hypothetical. But otherwise, if they have good earnings, it's on a solid chart. So, you're right where you want it to be as far as like, if they deliver pretty good going into tomorrow, Bob. But yeah, that's as much as I can give you, unfortunately. Wish I can give you a more fluid answer or a more concrete answer, that rather. More informative answer. How about that? All right. So I think that's just about it, folks. Not a whole lot to work with, really. Lace, nah, gonna pass on this trade for now. Bad spread. Not a bad move from earlier this morning, but BSGM. Yeah, when we're getting recommendations like this, I think that we're pretty much all settled. That's kind of our cue. So, hey, for the meantime, we like to keep it simple here, folks, right? I always say that the one of the differences between Fausto and myself is that exactly that. I see the opportunity in a lot of trades, and sometimes I'll put out a watch list that's pretty big, 10, 12 stack, and Fausto could do that at times too, but he does a better job at keeping it simple. And today we kept it pretty simple myself here. So about 5 stocks to work with altogether. If the market ends up pulling back a little bit more, there could be some shorts to work with. But otherwise, hey, I'll jump back on the mic going into 3 o'clock, probably 3:05. I'll be back on for Bob and Jeff and Kathleen, Charles, Grant, and all of our students here coming up. All right. But best of luck trading going into the market close on all of us on social media. Hey, let me just post this up as always here at the end at Cyber Trading You. If you are new, if you're not following just yet, what are you waiting for? No, I mean that because, hey, we stream live each and every day because you want to make sure that you have the best chance to follow along in the mornings and afternoons. So at Cyber Trading You is always the handle. If you're new, join us. And then otherwise, hey, hey, if you haven't joined our live trading room yet, feel more than free to scan that QR code with your camera, with your phone, get you live access to our trading room for a week-long trial. We look forward to having you there. But otherwise, I will be jumping back on the mic in about 15, 20 minutes.